Mike with GRETA'S Guns, and today we're up at MB Tactical Range up in Piru, California. And today we're here to talk a little bit about bolt action application versus semi-automatic application. So we have two rifles here, both chambered in .308. This is a Aero Precision Solus rifle, basically bone stock. We've got Aero Precision suppressor on it, Steiner T6XI 5-30 power optic. Everything else pretty much out of the box aside from the bipod. Now over here we've got an LWRC Reaper. This has the proof carbon fiber barrel in it, match grade. Got this Surefire suppressor and brake on it, and then we're topped with the Leupold Mark 8 5-25 power. So both of these rifles for the most part are bone stock. We haven't done anything to them. They're both 20-inch barrel. They're both target rifles. So going back to the Aero Precision, you know, bolt action, everyone knows bolt action. It is a little bit slower to fire this gun. Now, the way this gun's set up is the bolt is super smooth, it's a short throw. It's very comfortable to shoot this thing. The Reaper AR-10 platform, it's definitely comfortable, just like everybody knows. Everyone's got ARs, you know, it's very ergonomic. You have a lot of different stuff going on with these things. The cool thing with this rifle, it is a short stroke gas piston system, and you could turn the gas off. So you could tune this to cycle whatever load you're running for the most part, or you could turn the gas off and kind of run it like a bolt action. Going back to the Aero again, being bolt action, this gun is more accurate. Both of these rifles quote sub-MOA accuracy, and they are both sub-MOA, but you start to really see the differences downrange. Now, if you're a guy that just needs to be the most accurate all the time, you want to hit 1,000-yard plus, bolt action is going to be better every single time. Semi-automatic will get you there for sure, but it's never going to group like this thing does. Now, that being said, especially when you're talking about distances beyond 500 yards, you got to figure out what ammo the gun likes. You know, I could have 3 of these Aero Precision rifles, all exactly the same, and they may like different types of ammo, different bullet weights. Today we're going to be shooting Federal Gold Medal Match 168 grain out of these. We're shooting at about 800 yards, so we're not pushing these to the max, but just getting them zeroed in before we started filming, I can already tell the difference in accuracy. So a bolt action, you know, it does fire slower than a semi-automatic would. However, this gun's gonna hit where you want more often than not, as long as you have it set up the way it needs to be set up. If you need more rounds down range, or you're engaging multiple targets, you know, there's 8 or 9 gongs out there if you want to hit them as quickly as possible. This is going to be the better option. It will hit them, but it won't group quite as tight as the bolt action will. We'll show you a little bit how they both fire. They both do actually like different ammo, but they both run Gold Medal Match very well. Almost everything runs Gold Medal Match very well. It's going to be kind of hard to show you accuracy differences downrange. We don't have paper at 800 yards, but I'm seeing about a foot variation where I had to really adjust this to bring it in, where I had this one adjusted for 1,000 yard and it didn't take much to dial it in. This one we had adjusted for 1,000 yard. It's kind of all over the place. So I think I've got it in a good happy medium. So we'll shoot them a little bit and kind of show you the differences in hit percentage. All right, so right off the bat, went to go play with the Reaper, and it is dry, but it's not super dry, but it's not feeding rounds, so it needs oil. We're in a bolt action. It is manually operated, so at the end of the day, oil is not super critical to its function. Okay, so I know you probably can't see this on camera, but these rounds are dancing about a foot up and down, left and right. They're all over the place. It is a tiny bit windy, but not enough that should affect this bullet that much. So we're gonna try it another time without the suppressor, and that will change our point of impact a little bit, so we'll see if we can get on. Okay, so the suppressor did help. It's still dancing around a little bit, so taking that off did make a big difference. It's still not that great, you know, for the cost of a rifle like this. It would have hit a man, but the gong that I'm hitting, it's a pig that's maybe a foot wide, and it's 700 yards for it to not be consistently hitting with match grade ammo. We'll run one more mag through it just to verify, and then we'll switch to the Aero Precision. All right, so when you're shooting, you know, fairly long range, stability is important. You can see my table here, not super stable, but we can overcome that. We're gonna run one more mag through this and see if we can get it to be more consistent than it is, at least. this is not fully chambering every time, and it's getting stuck. Now, I will say, when I zeroed this rifle, I was using PMC and it didn't really have problems with that. Again, could just be the ammo. I've shot this ammo through this gun before, but it doesn't seem to be liking gold metal match. And the other problem is we don't have a forward assist on this gun. So for a gun with a match grade barrel in it to be failing to feed match grade ammo and not fully chambering consistently is a problem. Okay, round 4, see if the gun works. Hit. Alright, so that time we got 9 out of 10. So definitely more consistent. I could see even with the headwind we got, you know, it's probably a 8 or 9 mile an hour headwind right now. The suppressor did affect it, and being a carbon barrel, I mean, that makes sense. But I'm not sure I'm a fan of the malfunctions. You know, if you need to use this thing and have it not chamber, especially without a forward assist, this particular rifle might be an issue. But let's switch to the bolt action and see how she goes. Alright, well, this gun likes this ammo. I already know that. Well, even though we're not all the way on yet, this is a heavier bullet than what I zeroed with, so I'm hitting a little bit low, so I'll make an adjustment for that. But it's definitely way more consistent. You know, it's not dancing around the target, it's staying in the same zone. So it's hard to say for certain that it's the other rifle, but we do have a lot of variables today. It's windy, different guns, different optics. Same ammo though, and the other gun did not like gold metal match as much, and I've shot it through that before. Okay, got a hit there. Definitely way more consistent with this rifle. With the suppressor on it, it's a little bit of trouble because I don't know if you could see the heat coming off of it, but I could see that in the optics. So it's clouding up what I can see. So this particular application, you know, is a little bit tricky because of the heat mirage. But overall, this is a lot more streamlined. It's easier to maneuver around and get stable with. And I don't know if you noticed, but it chambered every single time because it's manually operated. So in the amount of time that I fired 20 rounds, I had a 90% hit rate, where the Reaper had probably a 60% hit rate. I definitely got through 20-30 rounds in half the time that 20 rounds took. So again, application specific. This is going to be a more accurate gun, and if you're going to really push the limit of how far you could send rounds, the bolt action is going to be better. I wish I had a way to visually represent what I'm seeing in the optic, but overall, I'm more of a fan of the bolt action. The semi-automatic definitely has its place. You know, you have a little bit less felt recoil, which is nice. You can get more rounds out, and it will do it. But a bolt action is going to be more consistent every time. All right, so my first 2 rounds in this magazine are going to be supersonic. Everything after that's going to be subsonic. So I'm going to be using point of impact for the supers, and I'm going to be using an 800-yard drop for the subsonic at 200 yards. Now you can hear the difference. Okay, and this is a sub. So if you want to be super quiet, you're not going to have as much range, of course, but bolt action is going to be the way to go every time. Do a 3-round group with 147 grain PMC, and then we'll shoot a group with match grade, and that's going to show you the difference between the ammos as well as semi-automatic versus bolt action in both types of rounds as well. Okay, you can already see a super loose group out there with PMC. Okay, so now we're going to shoot with match grade. You see the first plate I shot with the PMC. I think that's an 8-inch plate, and through my scope, it looks like that's probably 4-inch group at 200 yards, where I've now shot the 4-inch plate, and it looks like all my rounds are touching. We're definitely sub MOA with gold medal match in the bolt gun, and we're not even shooting MOA with the PMC through the bolt gun. So let's try the Reaper. All right, so now we're on the Reaper, and we're gonna shoot the far left plate, the biggest one. I think that's a 12-inch, maybe it's a 10-inch. So let's see how PMC groups on it. It's about the same as the bolt action, so probably a 4-inch group at 200 yards, which isn't super great, but definitely minute a man. We'll do the second plate from the right, so the one we haven't hit yet. Let's see how that one does. Let's get one more round on it now that we got her to feed. That's good. So I've got a Horus reticle in here, and with the wind I'm using my 1,000-yard zero, which we're a little bit past 1,000, but we've got probably a 4-ish mile-an-hour crosswind, and at 1,000-yard you could have 2 or 3 crosswinds. So because I've zoomed out a little bit, I could see the impact, and I can use the Horus to walk it in. So let's see if we can get an impact. Problem is, at 1,000 yards, every little movement matters, and that's why a good trigger helps quite a bit, so you don't yank the gun, hopefully. Okay, so we're at 16 power at 1,000 yards. Kind of hard to even hear the impact at that distance. Impact. Well, we're pretty much on now, boys. Yep, we're consistent. That's a 12-inch plate at 1,060 yards, so super consistent. Hitting a 10-inch plate, which means we're getting better than 10-inch groups. We're probably, what I could see in the scope, looks like 6-inch groups at 1,000. We're definitely sub MOA, so we're probably pushing 0.6 to 3/4 of an inch groups at 100. So definitely 1,000-yard capable. I mean, we're beyond 1,000. And we got 30 power optic, and we're only on 16 power. You don't need a crazy optic to play 1,000 yards. It does help to see the target. With PMC, got maybe a 4 or 5-inch group there with PMC. This is what the Solus with match. All right, so we're out here at 200 yards. We're shooting that rack just to get 0 for each rifle and each ammo. This is the rack we were filming through the spotting scope. So this plate was the bolt action, the Solus with PMC 147 grain. You can see we got a 4 or 5-inch group. This is the plate we shot with match with the Solus and bolt action, and we are pretty much touching. We've got 1.5-inch group roughly, and that's at 200 yards, so we're super sub MOA with 168 grain gold medal match. This is PMC with the Reaper, 147 grain ball. You see, same thing, we got about a 4 or 5-inch group. Not super terrible for junk ammo. Now this plate was the one with match grade with the Reaper, and we've got an impact here, here, and here. So even if we were to just average this and ignore this one, maybe that one got thrown, you've still got maybe a 2-inch group. So at best, with the semi-automatic, with even a match grade carbon proof research barrel, which is a great barrel, in semi-automatic, we're about MOA with match grade, which is what we typically would expect with regular ammo, but not bad for a semi-automatic, but we're twice as accurate, if not better, with the bolt action. So you can get more rounds down range faster with a semi-auto. Maybe that's okay for your application, but you want to be accurate. Bolt action's the play every time. If you have any questions about setting up a longer distance rifle and want to know the pros and cons of each system potentially, drop a comment below. We just want to say thank you to MB Tactical Range for letting us come up here while they're closed, kind of having a run of all the ranges. You guys should really come up here if you're in the SoCal area, check them out. They're public range. They've got a really sweet pistol gallery. They've got a rifle range, goes all the way to 1,060 yards. Super awesome if you want to play long range. They host matches here on the weekends. A lot of cool stuff happening up here, so you should definitely check them out.